Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Corey Schwabrow, and I am the Assistant Director in the Office of Student Transitions. Thank you so much for joining us for our ECU Live series. And today we're going to talk to Aaron Lucier, who's the Director of Housing Operations and Campus Living. And he's going to update us on some things that are going on over in the housing world today. Just to let you know, the session will be recorded and archived and will be available on the official ECU YouTube channel in a few days. We do ask that you give us some time to let us close caption and get that video uploaded to YouTube. In order to make sure that we are following accessibility guidelines, the recorded session will be closed captioned, as I mentioned. If further accommodations are required, please contact the Office of Disability Services. So I am going to turn things over now to Aaron and let him go ahead and get started.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Like was said, I'm Aaron Lucier, the Director of Housing Operations, and we are right in the middle of our drop-off period. We're going to talk about a few things. I'm very excited. It's getting close, folks, and it is right around if you haven't already dropped off, it's right around the corner. So we're going to be talking about both drop-off and then move-in, which is next week, and then what we're calling return to campus. So for the folks that have done the drop-off, the period of the come back and start living on campus. So we're going to cover all of that today. And we will also take any questions that folks have, and if the OAs have any questions that they've been getting, we can pipe and go through those as well. I'm going to share my screen, which we tested earlier, so that's good. All right, there we go. All right, so we have our little picture of College Hill there. And of course, now the slide, there we go. So we did do some work this summer, and if you attended our other videos, you've heard this before, but we did do a project in Legacy and Jones Hall, some air upgrades to improve the air quality in the building. It's up and running as of today. We did lots of general maintenance in the rooms, but we did have some issues. And I'm going to explain that for folks that maybe did a drop off or are coming for drop off the next few days, or maybe do move in. Normally we have a little bit longer time to prepare for your arrival. And in a few cases, in most summers, the rooms are checked by 3 groups of people. The first is what we call our SBI team, our summer building inspection team. And then the housekeepers go through to clean the room. And then the RAs double check the rooms, along with supervisors doing spot checks and everything like that. This year, the RAs arrived after drop-off began. So we've run into a few cases where rooms weren't quite cleaned as well, or there's been some maintenance issues, particularly in Legacy and Jones Hall, where we were doing this HVAC upgrade project, because that project is really literally running into the drop-off period. We are still having construction crews finish up a few pieces of work. They're really not largely in student rooms, but they impacted power in some student rooms. So it really has come down to the wire on some of those spaces. So if you dropped off and there were some problems in your room, or you do drop off and there's some problems in your room, we will get them taken care of. We apologize, but it was a tight schedule, as we know, with school starting earlier. So, but we are, and if that happens in any building, we do check and double check your room, but things can happen. And we did not have that last RA check this year in all those rooms. And therefore, if there's something going on, just let us know. We'll get it taken care of. So, but very excited about those projects and what we got to do in a lot of our buildings. Lots of paint, lots of this, lots of that. We get a lot of work done during the summertime. So the emails you should have done, unless you contracted in the last few days, you should have your assignment email already. So that's something we already covered. Your assignment should have your link to sign up for early drop-off, which is almost over. We have today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, and then drop-off will be over. A few weeks ago, an email went out for move-in date sign-up. So if you signed up for drop-off, you do not need to sign up for a move-in date. And if you signed up for a move-in date, you not need to sign up for a drop-off. If you switch which one you're doing, they don't turn each other off. So if you signed up for both a move-in and a drop-off, you don't need to worry about it. We'll see you when you see you, but just know that if you canceled one, it didn't mean you canceled the other, because there were 2 different signups. where a few more emails are coming out. A reminder about the resident handbook is coming out this week. We're sending out some information from our partners in dining over the next week and so. Lots of information come out. Some of this information usually comes out in early August, but usually we're not starting school the next week. So some of our normal timing of emails might be like you're sending a lot of information while normally we have a longer time to send it, and it's been a little compacted. So keep checking your East Carolina email account. That's really important. Just a great picture. We are requiring mask during move-in. That's a reminder, and your family can help. Particularly if you're doing drop-off, you can bring as many family members as you want. We're going to talk a little bit about what the family members for move-in should look like in terms of helping out. But this was a picture taken last week, and just the cutest thing and the absolute cutest thing in the world. So move in. So students have been taking advantage of the opportunity to move in their items with the early drop-off option. So folks have been fully setting up their room. Students aren't staying at this point. So if you did drop off, you went home, you're not staying on that. And we are going to talk about the arrival for class, that time coming back for class that you're going to have. Students and families can park near the residence hall, so that is going really well. Everything's kind of flowing. We've tweaked some things as we've gone along. So the most important thing in terms of this process, the early drop-off dates, we have a limited number of carts, so if you want to bring your own cart and you're still doing drop-off, that's fine. We're asking roommates not to check in on the same time to maximize social distancing, but that's self-enforced, so you need to check with your roommate. And all visitors should wear masks while dropping off their belongings during this process. As you can see, part of our process is already gone, and then we're currently in the second part. If students are unable to move into the early drop-off period, there's an opportunity to move in with limited and family and guest support on August 5th and 6th. So that's what we're calling our main move-in. We did not assign a time and date. You actually got to select it, but that's been we did those reserved time slots. So you've already signed up for it, or if you have not, you should. That email went out about a week ago. If you need it again, just email us at housing@ecu.edu and just request the email to be resent. We can do that. And students moving in on these days can remain on campus if they wish until classes begin. So this is the 5th and 6th, and we're starting school on the 10th. So it's about 5 days or 4 days before classes begin. We're going to be sending out some additional email about where to park and check in. If you're checking in your building, if your building is on College Hill, your check-in point is at Gateway Hall. And if your building is on Central or on West, your check-in point is West End Dining Hall. And there's going to be a little less support for this. So we still have some carts out, and we still have some stuff out. But in some normal years, if you moved in before, we might have had volunteers out helping. We're not doing that because of COVID. But the drop-off steps is basically where you're going to be checking in. So just like I said, so if you're doing drop-off, you're going to go to where you're checking in. So Gateway, it should be in your email, but if you are on College Hill, it would be Gateway. If you're on Central, which is Umstead, Cotton, Fleming, and Jarvis, you do your pickup at West End Dining Hall, and of course the West End residence halls, Clement, White, Green, Fletcher, and Garrett are all picking up their keys at West End Dining Hall. And then you head to your building with your key and fob. There is parking near the residence halls. Just use legal parking spots. We've had some people create parking spots. We prefer you not to create your own parking spot. So use the legal parking spots. Don't block sidewalks. Don't block fire lanes. So, okay. And then students will not be occupying the room, as we mentioned. Do not try to remember your keys, though. That's really important. So we've checked in. If you've done drop-off already or you're doing drop-off, you will have your key and fob, so you need to take that home with you, but bring it back because those are expensive. They're $150 to replace a key and fob. It's important to roommates to talk on arrival, to coordinate what you're bringing, what not to bring, so you're not bringing 2 Keurigs, everything. Coordinate. I also recommend if you are dropping off before your roommate and they're not there, or even after your roommate and you have questions about moving stuff, if you've got your roommate's contact information, see if you can bring up a video chat and to say, hey, I'm thinking about moving your bed over a few inches. Do you mind? Check in with each other. Use that technology to check in and support each other, and that's really helpful. We have our carts and bins, but if you do want to bring your own, you're welcome to do so. You can bring, but if you use ours, please just bring it back to the lobby when you're finished so the next person can use that. It's really helpful to have. And then there's still some cleaning and prep work talking about. So if you see some maintenance work going on, just be observant of your surroundings. We're still doing some light construction work here in Jones and Legacy Hall on College Hill. So there's still some things going on. So just keep an eye out for that. And then the drop-off period continued. Like I mentioned, no one can spend the night. When you're finished, please take your trash out to the dumpster, which is outside the building. Usually behind the building, it's usually in a nice little brick sort of shed of itself. And then leave cardboard outside the dumpsters or in the dumpsters labeled for recycling so we can be conscientious of that. The weather may be warm or wet, or if you had this morning, warm and wet. We had both going on, so keep an eye out on the forecast. And then we will have a water site on each neighborhood, only one. Some of the residence hall fountains may be limited to bottle filling only, and food service is not quite in operation yet. Now, these will change. Food service will be open for move-in, and we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so move-in steps. So if you're not doing drop-off, you're doing move-in, and this is on the 5th and 6th. The move-in, it's going to look very familiar. So please check if you're checking in, only the student arrives. Bring your ID. So if you do not have your ECU ID yet, bring your high school ID, bring your driver's license, bring some sort of ID. Don't leave it in the car because you're going to be running back to the car for it. So if you are on College Hill, once again, you are checking in at Gateway, and if you are on West End or Central, you're checking in at West End Dining Hall. Then once you've gotten all that, you're going to get a key and fob, but you're also going to be giving a move-in pass. So that's going to be something that you're going to put in your car window indicating that you're moving in still. There is parking near the residence hall. Once again, use legal line spaces. Don't block the fire lanes. Don't take a handicap spot unless you have a handicap placard. So don't block sidewalks. It just helps us out. But what we're going to ask you to do is put your car there for a little bit, get everything out of your car, and then we're going to ask you, once you've unloaded, then you should move your cars to the remote lots. And the instruction to those remote lots is going to be on the back side of the permit, like the move-in permit. So you're going to get a move-in pass. You're going to, it's going to say you're moving in, and then you're going to flip over that pass, and on the back side will be instructions to a parking lot that you can park your car. That's, if you are the student car, that's parking your car up until Sunday. And if it's a parent, that's parking the car until they're ready to go home. Students should remain in the remote lots until your permitted area on this afternoon of Sunday, August 9th. And then you should move your car by 8 a.m. on the first day of classes into the right lot. Otherwise, you may be ticketed or towed. So basically, so this is how the flow. You get your permit when you get your keys at the areas we talked about. You go to your building, you get your stuff out of your car, you get it up to your room. Before you start getting everything up on the walls and doing everything like that, you pause, you run down to your car, you remove it to a remote lot. These remote lots are within walking distance of your building still. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, don't worry about that. These remote lots are not that far. They're very walkable. We have a very walkable campus. You drive over, you walk back, and then you spend the time, go into your room and start really unpacking and doing that. Then you know where your car is. It's in a spot that you can stay all the way up until Sunday with, because we need to keep those parking spaces around the residence halls for those students checking in, because we're going to talk about it both from the move-in perspective and then the return to campus. We're going to need those parking spots for students. your fellow students. So if you did drop off, you still need to come back to campus, and we're asking you to wait to do that to August 7th, 8th, and 9th, unless you've received instructions by another group, namely athletics or marching pirates or some other group that you need to come back earlier than that, you have permission to do so. Everybody else is coming back on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And during this process, we are asking that visitors are not allowed in the residence hall room. So this is, you're getting dropped off, but mom and dad aren't visiting the building. At this point, we're going to start enforcing our visitation policy that now says only students should be in the building, students and our staff, and that's it. So families are to drop their students off curbside, and the students could head to their room, or you're coming in with your car, you can put it in the remote lots and then take the bus or walk back to the short walk to campus. So those are your options. And you are bringing those last few things, that last bag or those last few things. So we're not going to have all the carts out and everything like that. It's going to be, you're much more trimmed down. You're just bringing those last few things, your laptop, your last few bags of clothes. So you might have to do 2 trips or something like that, or drop it off real quick and then move your car. But really at this point, it is the light drop off at this point. So you, if you did the big drop off, this is the follow up, the lighter return to campus. All right. And so once again, for move-in, we're going to tell you we don't want you to bring your whole big family. This is going to be a little lighter. Bring only really 2 family members, preferably from the same household who can help you move in. This isn't the time to bring grandma. This isn't the time to bring that cute little photo with your little brother or something like that. This is not the time to do that. This is going to be a little bit more trimmed down, and we're trying to start building the safety in the building of having limiting guests. When we get to actually drop off here, the return to campus for the drop off folks that did drop off, we are stopping guests. So this means you're not taking your parents into the building. If they arrive to campus and need to use a restroom, they can do so at the dining hall or some other public building. But we're really trying to build that security in the residence halls of trying to build that safe space for the COVID situation. All right, so some tips about how to set up your room with COVID going on. Room setups on arrival can be changed. They're currently for a normal year setup, so they're not quite set up the same way that you might consider doing it now. We do recommend that you move the bed away from the AC unit and the rooms that have a window AC, or if the bed is close to the AC unit, make sure that you're sleeping with your head as farthest away. You don't want an AC unit blowing on you. Some of the buildings have an AC unit that is down lower. That's particularly where this is a problem. Or if you lofted the bed and your head's up by the AC, the air conditioning unit that's high, just you need to be careful about that. You just don't want to have your you breathing right into the air circulation of the air conditioning unit. That's not going to help those situations. Also, it's just not really healthy to have that cold air blowing directly on you. Bunking the beds, namely all the beds are bunkable, so you can put them right on top of each other and they're bunkable. Or if you've ordered one of our optional loft kits through the loft company and paid for that, those are going to be, some of them were delivered already and the rest are going to be delivered before move-in. If you've ordered them recently, the lofting's an option as well. That creates a lot of extra space in the room. Once again, though, you want to still sleep in the opposite direction. I'll show you a little diagram about that in a moment. So we've provided some rough samples to students. And when I mean rough samples, I drew them myself and I'm not an artist. So just don't laugh too hard when you see these. But we did one for a Jones and Legacy room and one for Garrett. But the principles can be used in any of our buildings. So here's the first funny diagram. This is a Jones or Legacy room. So right now, the beds are normally over by the AC unit and they're right next to each other. But if you want to break up so that breathing space, if one student sleeps in towards the window and the other one sleeps towards the door, that's already breaking up that breathing distance from each other and therefore creating a little bit more separation. Students are asking, you know, how am I going to socially distance from your roommate? You really cannot do that. A lot of you know your roommates or you're getting to know your roommates. that's probably sort of, you're going to consider yourself sort of a household, sort of how you do with your family. This is going to be your college family. That might not be as close as that because they're just a roommate, and but you know, some of you are rooming with your a good friend of yours. So you're going to create sort of a family unit, and you need to look out for each other. You both need to be making smart decisions outside the room. So when you come back to the room, you can feel safe. And if that's not happening, you need to talk to your roommate about that. But this setup will help with just make sure that you're not breathing right on top of each other when you're sleeping. If you bunk the beds, it's the same thing. It sort of separates, but once again, if you bunk the beds, you might still want to choose to sleep in the opposite directions of each other, just so you're not right directly on top of each other in terms of your breathing. But this is a possible room setup. Another one is for, this one's for Garrett. Garrett Hall's got some different shaped rooms, but this is a sort of floor plan that can work a little bit. There's some options you can do in terms of some of the Garrett rooms. This will work. Some of them you might do some different things, like having a bed in one direction, but just once again breaking up the fact that if you're sleeping in the opposite direction, that starts creating some space between you. If you're lying down, it creates, you know, if you're 5 feet, you're already getting some space between you. So, are you 6 feet? You're really getting some space between you. But you can play around with this. Most of the room furniture is absolutely movable, so you can make some decisions about that. Get creative. If it's not working for you, change it around. And I would notice a lot of students set up their room one way and then they change it around because they like it another. That's the great thing about having most of the room furniture being movable. So we're at the question part. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen here so I can see the questions better. And we will see if we have any questions, or if the OAs know some questions that they've gotten from the past. All right, well, oh, yes, dining options. A lot of the dining options will be open. A few of them that don't fit really well with all this. Chili's will be closed because of how it's set up. One of the dining space options down in the student center will be closed because that's going to be an option for our Grubhub takeout, because we're going to be supporting a lot more takeout, so there won't be as many lines. The main dining halls will be open. They're going to be a little bit different. In the past, it's been a lot of serve yourself options, and we've had to take those out. So there'll be staff helping you with almost every option for food in the dining hall. And so that's my allergies are going off, summer allergies, sorry. But those dining options will be there. But most of our existing dining options will be open. There will be some options to order ahead at some of them because we know that's going to create some lines, and we want to do line management and make sure that folks are able to socially distance as they line up. So lots of flexibility. I do think folks are going to have to look at and practice some things of maybe eating at a little non-traditional time. One of the toughest times we have is everybody likes to eat right at 6 o'clock, and that can make the dining hall a little crowded around dinner time. Think about, shifting your times a little bit. 12 o'clock, right at 12, it's going to be busy, but going at 12:30 might mean a lot less competition in the lines and a lot less stress in the lines in the dining hall or any of the dining spaces. So making a difference of changing your time a little bit can really help that as well. There'll still be there's going to be an option to do takeout from the dining hall. So in case there's no seating available, or you're just not feeling comfortable, or you just want to take out, there'll be an option to do takeout from the dining hall once a day, and that will be a once a day option. And so that will so the dining hall will be set up for socially distancing. But if you go in with your roommate and you want to sit next to each other, you've already said, this is somebody who's in my quote household. I'm going to make that decision, and therefore you can't sit next to each other, and you're going to probably do that with some of your friends, but you got to make sure that those are friends that are not going out, not and are wearing their masks, and they're doing the smart things. And you're a friend that's doing those smart things, that you're not going out, you're practicing social distancing, you're not going to a secret house party that you heard about. The hall, I'll cover the question that came up. Somebody asked if the halls will require a mask. We are going to require them in the public, like the lobby area, or if you're in the elevator. But if you're on your floor going down to the bathroom, we're not going to require a mask, because you should be able to maintain social distancing on the floor. So if you're coming out of your room just to go down to the bathroom, and you got to brush your teeth, you just need to practice social distancing. Keep 6 feet away from folks, and a mask will not be required on your floor. And that's a decision we made in terms of students' comfort. We're not telling people that you've got to go shower at this time or restricting anything like that. Just if you go into the bathroom, there is divider walls and spaces in between the areas, and therefore making sure that if you're at the sinks, you're making a decision that I'm not using this sink, I'm going to go a little further down because the other one's being used. And if you just need to be thoughtful and planning that for yourself. Go grocery shopping. You're going to have to make those couple trips yourself. You might reach out. Somebody asked if I did wait until I returned to Greenville to do grocery shopping and need assistance bringing groceries to your room. You're going to have to find you could maybe talk to your roommate or friends and have them help you. You do that from your vehicle, because your parents won't be able to do that with you. At that point, on the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and afterwards, we're not allowing guests in the residence halls that don't live there. So if they're not another residence hall student, and they can be a residence hall student of your friend lives in the next building over, they can help you. But non-residence hall students are not going to be allowed. So none of your high school friends can come down and visit you this year, unfortunately, and stay with you. They can't visit you in the residence halls. You can't have a younger sibling come, because at this point, we are making the decision that the residence halls are for residence hall students. Moving in advance on August 1st and moving on the 5th and 6th largely is related to how many people you can have help you. Moving in advance, you can bring as many people as you want. We're calling that drop off. Somebody asked a question about the difference between drop off and move in, and it's largely related to when you come for drop off, you cannot stay overnight, but you can bring as many people as you want. And then if you do it for move in on the 5th and 6th, you get to stay at that point, but we're asking that you limit your move-in help to just 2 family members, preferably from the same household as you. We rented a loft on June 17th, and they said the loft will be in their daughter's room on August 3rd. Can we go to set up her loft before we start? If you come on the 5th and 6th, you can do that and set it up. But after that point, guests won't be allowed. If you're not coming back until the drop-off period and you can't go up and help, your daughter might be able to get her roommate and maybe some nearby friends to help. They are pretty easy to put together without tools. There's actually a video on the College Products website showing how to put it together. You'd be surprised how easy it actually is to get it put together. Mainly the thing is the lifting the bed onto the loft once it's set up, which can be a little heavy, but get a few friends and put masks on and get up there and do it. You'll probably be surprised how easy it is to get that done. So if you're worried about the loft, know that it is doable by students, and just gather some students together and get it done. If you're doing it during the drop-off period, the return to campus period, and your family members can't come up and help you with it. So some great questions. Thank you very much. All right. Are there any other questions I can answer for you? Okay, well, we're excited. So one thing I just want to discuss with you really again, and I talked about it a little bit, is making sure we're going to do a lot of things. We're putting up signs limiting elevator use. We are changing how we're doing programming. We are putting out signage in our lobbies about socially distancing, but it is going to be about student decisions with that information. Namely, if the lobby is set up even with extra chairs, but you're gathering a bunch of chairs together and doing things you're not supposed to in terms of gathering 8 people together, and some of them you don't know, and you don't know if they've been doing the right things as well, that's not the best idea. You really need to make those choices. So I suggest you build a small group of friends that you know are doing the right things, and use those as your sort of social network. And it doesn't mean you can't be social with other people, but just make sure that you're maintaining social distancing with those other folks. If you don't know that they're doing the right things and staying, not going out, and they're maintaining social distance with other folks, and they're wearing their mask where they need to, if you don't know that, you might think about you need to keep your social distance from them, and hopefully you can maintain that. If your roommate's not cooperating, talk to your RA. We do allow room changes later. You can also consider that as well, in a more serious situation. But hopefully you and your roommate are having a candid conversation about, I'm going to try to keep you safe. Hopefully you can try to keep me safe, and this is how we do it. And that's really important. Students who move in early will be able to check back on the 5th or 6th to stay. No, they really need to stay to the 7th. We were asking them, the people that did drop off, to do the return to campus unless they have been invited to return to campus for earlier for a reason on the 5th and 6th, to wait to the 7th, 8th, and 9th to do the return to campus. So if you did drop off, unless you're told otherwise, you should probably return on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So, good question. Thank you, Corin, for that question. So if students who move in early are able to come back on the 5th or 6th to stay, we would ask that you wait to the 7th, 8th, and 9th to do that. And that's that return to campus that I talked about. Okay. Well, thank you. We're excited. Keep checking your email. Ask any questions you have later on. Get in touch with us at our email, housing@ecu.edu. I look forward to seeing you on campus. If you see me and say hi, I could show you. This is what I look like with a mask on, so we'll see you out there on campus. Your RA's there as a resource. Your hall coordinator there is as a resource. If you haven't joined your hall group on Facebook, that invitation was in your assignment email. Even if you're not a big Facebook user, there are lots of people posting Instagram, and there's some group chats that I know have been created. So feel free to join those. But a lot of that's happening starting on Facebook. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great day. Go Pirates, and we're glad you're going to be with us today or very soon. Take care.
Thanks so much, Aaron. As just a reminder, we have recorded this session, and it will be up on our official ECU YouTube channel as soon as we get it captioned. So give us a couple of days for that. We hope you all have a great afternoon. Again, thanks to Aaron Lucier, Director of Housing Operations, and go Pirates. Have a great day.
Everybody.